Hi, this is a brief, somewhat hyperbolic take on the darker aspects of internal monologue, bearing in mind that supposedly not everyone has one, and also bearing in mind that they are not all necessarily bad. This image represents a being who seems to be vomiting himself inside out with no end in sight, flooding the entirety of his perceptual field. The folded tissue of intestines rhymes with the folded tissue of brain matter in this depiction. The natural world is nowhere to be found because his internal projection and commentary has drowned it out. And now the being's priority is to maintain the addiction to this self-consuming identity. In the process, this being has become the verbal sewage that they project onto the world. This avoidance of nature has origins that are never considered because he is desperately clinging to what he thinks he knows, while lost in the weeds of self-deception, virtually grafted into his physical being. He keeps himself busy through this peristaltic act of projecting and reflecting in a space of artificial light that obscures the darkness of his origin. This addiction to falsity provides the energy that keeps the artificial light on until the entire construct inevitably negates itself. The light begins to fail, the shadows begin to creep in, and eventually to reclaim and decompose this being's vessel back into the earth. This image also represents mainstream collectivism along with the regurgitation of socially engineered narratives. This is an individual thrown off balance and herded into a state of perpetual disorientation. This ancestral trauma, forever unresolved and undermined by the collective human construct, an aspect of artificial intelligence, is neither something to follow nor take personally due to its intrinsic self-negation. Whenever one mentions the alleged demands or preferences and prejudices of some aspect of society, they typically mention it as if it is some one-sided thing, when in reality the collective unconscious itself is in a state of schizophrenic sewage. One positive aspect of collectivism is how, as a catalyst or even antagonist, it evokes the necessary resistance and tension for one to develop and cultivate the strength to become who they are as a creative individual being, in spite of, or even inspired by, the illusions of the times. The extent to which one can find or even express gratitude for such resistance is entirely up to you. But nevertheless, therein lies a path to be forged if you are not one to be taken in by the delusions of the masses from one blindsided generation to the next. This image can be misinterpreted simply as a satire of anyone who has a lot to say, which is not the point. The point is that a collective stream of consciousness can be very easy to relate to, like a chronic case of mistaken identity. And so it may be worth looking into the factors of societal conditioning as well as who one is in the midst of it all, and how this may inform self-expression, for better or worse. And I will leave it at that for now.